This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 5th day of April in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. President Irfan Ali met with medical personnel from the Georgetown Hospital this morning and told them that with increased investments in the healthcare sector, the government expects the delivery of a higher quality of service. In his address to the healthcare workers, the president said at the Georgetown Hospital alone, there has been major investments in new labs and other facilities. He said the government is serious about healthcare and told the medical professionals that across the country, additional investments are being made in the healthcare system.
That we are making serious investment in the healthcare system, and in making these investments, the population and the government expect that in a short time span, we must be able to deliver efficient, reliable, quality health care, world-class health care to the citizens of Guyana. In the first instance. In the second instance, our healthcare system must be developed to be the premier healthcare system in the region. And thirdly, we want to structurally integrate our healthcare system into the economy of the country as an important revenue earner in the future.
The president also told the doctors present that while he has no issue with them practicing in the private sector, they must deliver in the public sector.
Now, I don't have any difficulty with your talent being utilized in private sector, in regional health care. But I want us all to agree that once we're in the public healthcare system, there must be a minimum standard and a minimum set of deliverables and hours that constitute our support to the public healthcare system. I'm not going to be the person who would run down doctors. I believe that we can find a healthy balance. I believe that we can work towards finding a solution that maximizes your potential. Well, you may say maximize your earning power, but I want to say maximize your potential.
And he said as the government builds out much needed infrastructure in the healthcare sector, it is also equipping hospitals and other health facilities with the requisite equipment and resources while capitalizing on technology. And highlighting the challenges of a shortage in staff, he said there will be increased training of various categories of healthcare workers.
The public does not get to see the exceptional work that you're doing, the medical professionals are doing across this country. Exceptional work, because I've had the opportunity to look at all the reports on the challenging circumstances. But exceptional work can be destroyed very easily with level of service. And the level of service range from all the stakeholders in the delivery of service, from the security that opens the gate, to the clerk that collects data, the nurses, the cleanliness of the place.
President Ali also underscored the importance of adopting a team approach in the delivery of health services. The meeting with the president also provided the medical personnel an opportunity to share their thoughts on developments and challenges at the Georgetown Public Hospital and the wider healthcare sector. News Source understands that many of the doctors raised questions about the need for better salaries, better on-call pay, and better allowances. They were told that their allowances would no longer be taxed, while many of the other issues raised were not addressed immediately. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man to a Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands: Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
Oh, when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm unable with that. Get me, young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week. Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man to a Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592 Tees, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rums. Drink responsibly. For the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man to a Skylark.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids, or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
Guinness Street Ballers, it's down to the final 8 this Saturday in the Guinness Greatest of Districts and Sunday for the semi-finals and finals at the National Park. Will Gold is Money make history with a 3rd championship, or is there an upset in the making? Come and support your community and show that you're made of more. Consumers can win free Guinness and cool premiums with the purchase of every 6 bottles of Guinness. Admission free. Guinness, made of more. Please drink responsibly, 18 years and over.
Welcome back. Continuing to look at the local healthcare sector, the Guyana Public Service Union has hammered the government over its move to greenlight the recruitment of some 500 nurses from Bangladesh, while local nurses continue to complain about low wages and poor working conditions. Addressing a press conference yesterday, GPSU President Patrick Yard said the government continues to show contempt for public servants in general, but nurses in particular.
Oh, this is gross I pass the guidance. It's gross I pass. It is insulting, right? And it only, to my mind, reinforce the view that I have, that this government feel that the people of Guyana, the workers of Guyana, are their property. They own them. They could do with them anything they like. You know? And this I pass got to stop.
The GPSU represents nurses in the public healthcare sector. Last week, the government confirmed that it has granted approval to a private company to recruit 500 healthcare workers from Bangladesh to fill local gaps. There have been mounting concerns about the shortage of nurses at several public hospitals across the country, as many nurses continue to leave Guyana to take up more lucrative jobs abroad. The GPSU president said his union has submitted a menu of measures to the president on how to address some of the challenges facing local nurses. He said those recommendations were ignored, and the government went ahead and made some changes in the salary structure for some categories of healthcare workers, and that created more problems in the system.
President Ali issued those increases. Check and see it had an acceleration of nurses leaving this country. That's why you got to resort to this, because of the stupidity, right? And this naive and backward approach for a government that claimed to have working class credentials of trying to undermine a trade union and do things that the trade union is not involved in.
According to the GPSU president, some of the concessions that are being offered to the Bangladeshi nurses could be extended to local nurses to boost their morale.
The offers they're making to the nurses that they could bring in the country, pay tax-free, pay them above the local nurses, and a variety of different things. Clearly, you could see the double standards that they're displaying.
Nurses in the public healthcare system have been pleading for improved salaries and working conditions over the past several years. Some sad and tragic news to report now. 2 persons lost their lives this morning in a collision between a small boat and the GDF Coast Guard vessel in the Muruka River in Region 1. The 2 persons who died have been identified as Adrian Thomas and Helen Rabai. Both of the persons who lost their lives were passengers in the small civilian boat. 2 other persons, including the baby of the woman who died, survived the accident. In a statement, the GDF said early investigations have indicated that a collision between the Coast Guard vessel and the civilian vessel occurred at around 6:45 this morning. The injured persons were rushed to the charity hospital. None of the members of the Coast Guard vessel suffered from any injuries. The accident is currently being investigated by the Guyana Police Force. The Guyana Defense Force is expected to conduct its own board of inquiry into the tragedy. Let's tell you now that there has been no meeting of the Parliamentary Sectorial Committee on Foreign Relations in more than 5 months, despite the ongoing actions by Venezuela to violate the orders of the International Court of Justice and the Argyle Declaration. Just 2 days ago, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro signed new legislation into law for the defense of the Essequibo region, which makes up 2/3 of Guyana's territory. And while the government has denounced the move, opposition member of parliament with responsibility for foreign affairs, Amanzo Walton Desir, said a press statement will simply not be suffice. In an interview with news source, MP Walton Desir called for the urgent convening of the Parliamentary Sectorial Committee on Foreign Relations, noting that the opposition cannot be left in the dark on such an important issue.
Our first duty is to the people of Guyana, and it is in that regard that I have been asking the Minister of Foreign Affairs for us to have a convening of the Sectorial Committee on Foreign Relations. I've not yet even received an acknowledgement of my correspondence.
The Parliamentary Committee on Foreign Affairs last met in November of last year. In February of this year, the opposition member of parliament, Amanzo Walton Desir, wrote to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hugh Todd, urging him to convene the sectorial committee after there were reports of a buildup of Venezuelan troops on the border. By March, a second letter was dispatched to the Foreign Affairs Minister from Walton Desir, again urging him to convene the Parliamentary Sectorial Committee on Foreign Affairs after Caracas, by an act of parliament, created a new state encompassing Guyana's Essequibo region. To date, MP Walton Desir said there has been no response from the Foreign Minister to her letters.
As of this moment, I am unaware as to whether the President has briefed the leader of the opposition. Certainly, I have not received a briefing from my counterpart in the National Assembly. And we have to understand that it is important that as government and as opposition that we take active steps in ensuring that we can demonstrate to the people of Guyana that we are united on this matter. So,
an attempt by news source to get the Minister of Foreign Affairs to comment on the issue proved unsuccessful. However, in a statement on Wednesday, the government put Venezuela, the Caribbean region, and the international community on notice that it will not countenance the annexation, seizure, or occupation of any part of Guyana's sovereign territory. The government said the attempt by Caracas to annex Guyana's sovereign territory and make it part of Venezuela is an egregious violation of the most fundamental principles of international law. It said too that the move by Venezuela also contradicts the letter and the spirit of the joint declaration of Argyle for dialogue and peace between Guyana and Venezuela, which was agreed to back in December during the meeting between President Ariel Henry and the Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
Linden, it's time for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. This year, Big Man Door Skylark. Join Go Mosley Entertainment on Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand for 5 big bands, Stitchy, Super Ray, Murphy, the Castro Brothers, and for the first time in Linden, the one-woman band Queen Makiba.
Oh, when I see what I was getting, boy, I start to shiver, cause I know I'm unable with that. Get me, young boy.
Plus DJ Granny Ivy will be live. Party like never before. It's a one-man band and one-woman band fete for Linden Town Week, Thursday the 2nd of May at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Big Man Tour Skylark. Compliments of GTT, Sheriff Security, 592 Tees, Banks Beer, Guinness, and XM Rum. Drink responsibly for the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Man Tour Skylark.
Guinness Street Ballers, it's down to the final 8 this Saturday in the Guinness Greatest of Districts and Sunday for the semi-finals and finals at the National Park. Will Gold is Money make history with a 3rd championship, or is there an upset in the making? Come and support your community and show that you're made of more. Consumers can win free Guinness and cool premiums with the purchase of every 6 bottles of Guinness. Admission free. Guinness, made of more. Please drink responsibly, 18 years and over.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo, from its pristine rivers to its abundant resources. It's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect, and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Still on that issue with Venezuela, declaring that Guyana will not let its guard down, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo on Thursday said Guyana has already alerted its international partners on the latest development in the controversy between Guyana and Venezuela. Addressing a press conference, Mr. Jagdeo said Venezuela's latest actions are in clear violation of what it had committed itself to during the St. Vincent talks.
We have already notified all of our partners. We have brought this to their attention. The bad faith negotiations of Venezuela. And so they are aware of what's happening. Many of them are expressing concern and also outrage about this approach, the untrustworthy nature of the regime there. And we are not going to let our guards down.
Venezuela has been relentless in its pursuit for Guyana's Essequibo region for decades, but that interest has been heightened in recent years. A defiant Venezuelan president in a statement on his social media platform said a new law will recuse the dreams of the country's liberators of fighting for lands and rights. The move, Mr. Jagdeo said, would be illegal.
Now, clearly, this is a form of annexation by decree, by law, although it's not physical annexation, and it runs contrary to the Argyle Agreement and to what the process that we're engaged in now before the ICJ. In fact, it runs counter to the provisional measures given by the World Court that prohibits any change of the status quo in relation to the 1899 award.
Guyana continues to enjoy the backing of most of the international community on the issue with Venezuela. The government has fired back once again at opposition member of parliament and former Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson, as the blame game continues over the Guyana Power and Light Company's inability to provide a reliable supply of electricity, resulting in constant power outages in recent weeks. In a recent letter, Mr. Patterson, who served as the Public Infrastructure Minister under the APNU-AFC government between 2015 and 2020, said the spate of power outages being experienced now is as a result of the poor management of the power company by the current government. But the minister with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, has rejected that contention. In a statement last night, the finance minister jumped into the fray and said the APNU-AFC is wholly responsible for the current shortfall in electricity generation at GPL, and by extension, for the electricity woes confronting the people of Guyana, although the APNU-AFC left office 4 years ago. The finance minister said by now Guyanese could have been benefiting from the Amilo Falls hydropower project, which was intended to generate 145 megawatts of electricity. But he said back in 2013, the APNU and AFC used their parliamentary majority to block the project. The vote against that project, Mr. Singh said, resulted in the Blackstone Group and their power development subsidiary at the time, Seth Global, withdrawing from the project. Minister Ashley Singh said now the coalition is attempting to derail the ongoing gas-to-energy project. Dr. Singh said while failing to put forward any alternative even during its time in office, the opposition now claims to have procured 63 megawatts of brand new generating sets to boost the capacity of GPL. He rejected that contention and said between 2015 to 2019, GPL procured and installed a total of 14.2 megawatts at Kingston, Regina and Bartica. He said it was following the no-confidence motion that the coalition rushed to procure an additional 46.5 megawatts of generating capability before it left office. MP Patterson in his letter said although GPL was operating on a much smaller budget during the coalition's time in office, it was in a better state, notwithstanding a number of challenges. Still upset over the line of questioning the government faced during its recent appearance before the UN Human Rights Committee, Vice President Barrett Jagdeo on Thursday said the government has been moving to address many of the issues raised, while others have been addressed already. One of the main issues raised by the UN Human Rights Committee was the need for the equal distribution of the country's oil resources wealth. Mr. Jagdeo believes that issue should not have been raised, since according to him, all Guyanese are already benefiting from the oil resources.
All over the country, people are not benefiting directly, but indirectly. They're already starting to entire country is benefiting because there are more jobs now, there are more infrastructure projects, more hospitals, more everything else that we're building.
The vice president said his government is no longer afraid of defending its track record, whether here in Guyana or abroad. He said the government's management of the oil sector and ensuring that Guyanese benefit cannot be overlooked.
We are moving to make sure our people benefit more from this. And they do benefit with an expanded economy, more disposable income. So when people have jobs, they can spend more, they can buy more fish in the market, they can buy more greens from the farmers. They'll pay a higher price to the farmers too for vegetables, because some people believe that farmers must work hard and supply them constantly with cheap vegetables their whole lives. Their income going up, but the farmers must now get more income for their vegetables, etc.
And when questioned about additional measures to address the rise in the cost of living, Vice President Jagdeo said prices have been on the decline.
Now, the prices have even in some areas come down from the COVID period. You just take a few items like oil, cooking oil. You check what it was in the COVID period. You're saying, no, I take your wager that I look at the prices in the COVID period, it's skyrocketed 200% in some areas. So that's it. The constant issue will be, it's a comparative thing. It's a comparative thing. So we are faring much better than others.
Across the country, there continues to be an outcry over the rise in the cost of living, especially with local and imported food products. And many persons believe that citizens are not seeing the wealth from all the oil resources. 4 days before her 66th birthday, Georgetown resident Lena Narain was sentenced to 5 years in jail today after being found guilty of trafficking 25 pounds of cocaine. She was charged back in March of 2022 after the large quantity of cocaine was found by Kano agents at her Prashad Nagar, Georgetown home. 3 other persons who were charged in connection with the same drug bust have since been freed, since they did not live at the house and it could not be proven that they were connected to the drugs that was found at the house. Another person who was also charged in connection with the same bust has since died. In addition to the 5-year jail sentence, the 65-year-old Lena Narain has also been fined $17.1 million. Narain was also found guilty in a separate drug bust, which took place in January 2023. While she was unbailed for the 2022 drug bust, Kano agents swooped down on her home again in January of last year and found more than 2 pounds of cocaine in the home. She was arrested again along with 2 other persons and charged for drug trafficking. She has since appealed the guilty verdict in that particular case.
In our search for sophistication and grace, the Super Stylistics team invites you to be part of something extraordinary. Mothers and daughters who possess aura and presence that transcend through time. Step forward and become part of the Mother and Daughter Pageant 2024. Join our legacy as we redefine elegance for generations to come. The search for the epitome of timeless love begins now. Call 226-2825 or 626-0460 to secure your spot in the Mother and Daughter Pageant 2024.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Gaza is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Gaza's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Gaza has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall in the region. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel said on Thursday his communist-run government has secured supply of key subsidized food rations as he moved to defuse tensions just 2 weeks after protesters took to the streets over widespread shortages. In a report, Reuters said Diaz-Canel appeared on a midday TV newscast and indicated that his government had undertaken an enormous effort to ensure the supply of food for the island's population of 11 million. April and May are going to be months with better prospects, he said, adding that the Cuban government will continue to be committed to guaranteeing the people their levels of essential foods. Cuba has, since Fidel Castro's 1959 revolution, provided its citizens with a monthly ration of basics such as rice, beans, sugar, cooking oil, and coffee, though those deliveries have been scaled back over the years as an economic crisis has led to shortages and high prices. Some Caribbean islands should get their solar viewing glasses or eclipse glasses prepared, as even though the region is not in the path of the total solar eclipse on April 8, a partial solar eclipse will be visible for some islands. On April 8, a total solar eclipse will cross North America, passing over Mexico, the United States, and Canada. The popular website timeanddate.com has a list of various times for countries which are in the path of totality or for the partial solar eclipse. According to timeanddate.com, some of the Caribbean islands where a partial solar eclipse will be visible include Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Aruba, Belize, Bermuda, British Virgin Islands, Caribbean Netherlands, Cayman Islands, Cuba, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Martin, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. A total solar eclipse happens when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, completely blocking the face of the sun. And finally tonight, international news. The Israeli military has sacked 2 senior officers after 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers were killed in a strike in Gaza on Monday, according to the BBC. The IDF's inquiry into the incident says some workers survived initial airstrikes but were killed when a third car was hit. WCK has asked for an independent commission to investigate the killings, saying Israel's apologies represent cold comfort for the victims' families. The charity and other aid agencies have paused their operations in Gaza, where the UN estimates 1.1 million people, half the population, are facing catastrophic hunger. It comes after Israel says it has approved the opening of a key crossing and port for humanitarian deliveries. In their first call since the strike, Joe Biden told Benjamin Netanyahu that U.S. support for Israel will depend on steps being taken to address civilian harm in Gaza.
And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.